achieve universal primary education.
Promote gender equality and empower women.
Reduce child mortality.
Improve maternal health.
Combat HIV, AIDS, malaria, and other diseases.
Ensure environmental sustainability.
Develop a global partnership for development.
So what you've just heard are the United Nations 8 Millennium Development Goals. Right now I just want to share a little story with you about a little boy that I met in Cambodia. So if you, Angkor Wat is this very old, almost like park of temples in Cambodia. And if you've been there, when you get there, there's just, I mean, there's a lot of tourists there, and there's just tons of little children that are coming up to you to sell postcards, to sell a package of gum, or to sell whatever they've been told to sell. And because they're so cute, obviously they can sell more things than the parents, or whoever's kind of putting them out there to sell something. And they can be quite annoying for a lot of tourists, and they're probably at an age where they should be going to school and not out selling these things. So anyway, I was there in Angkor Wat and I was walking around for 3 days, and it's amazing, amazing place. If you do ever get a chance to go, I recommend it. And I had this idea, so I bought this package of pastels and all this paper, and I was going to make some wall rubbings of some of the beautiful engravings that are in all these temples. And I knew that might not be allowed, but I thought I'd give it a shot. Anyway, it worked, and I was going to do it for Christmas presents for my whole family. Anyway, it didn't work. They took it away from me. I had all this paper and all these pastels. And so I was walking around. It was probably one of the last temples that I visited. And I was just kind of exhausted, and I just sat down and, kind of took in what was going on around me. And this little boy came up to me and said, postcard lady, $1, postcard lady, $1, what I'd been hearing for the last 3 days. And I said, hey, you know what? I'll give you $1 if you draw me a picture. And I gave him this paper and then pastels. And he didn't know what to think about it at first. He was still hanging on to his gum and postcards that he was selling. He looked at me, and he looked at my friend that was with me, and he sat there, and we just sat down, my friend and I, and we watched him. And he was really uncomfortable at first. Didn't know what to do. He looked at the crayons, picked one up, and then I picked one up, and I drew on the paper. I was pretending to draw the temple, and I said, you, draw me a picture. Of course, he didn't speak English that well, and my Cambodian is 0. So, and we just watched him there, and it must have been what felt like about 20 minutes. So it was probably 2 or 3 minutes. He just sat there and he just stared at this pastel before he even made a mark on the paper. And he picked up one color and put it back, and he picked up one color and put it back. And it was just amazing to see this kid with all these, such amazement with these crayons and papers. And he started to draw pictures. And I became so overwhelmed with watching this, thinking about the 172 pack of Crayola crayons that I had when I was a kid, and the 2 dozen coloring books that I had stuffed in my closet with all my other toys and other things. And this was, I just got so overwhelmed, I just started like bawling. I couldn't help myself. And this kid was the postcards were gone, the gum was gone, we weren't even there. It was just him drawing this picture. It was so incredible. And so at the end of that, I told him that he could keep all the crayons and all the paper that I had left there. And the smile on his face was just absolutely incredible. And then you see him, he ran over to his dad and he showed him what he had. Anyway, all that to say that we're all pretty lucky here, and we all maybe have all had some kind of experience like that, or maybe we haven't. But I think the idea is to think that there's not equality in the world as it is today. And what's going on today and tomorrow, October 16th, 17th, and 18th across the world, is we're going to see how many people we can get to stand up against poverty and towards getting leaders to pay attention to these Millennium Development Goals that have been stated. Last year, 116 million people stood up against and made a world record, and this year they want to beat that record. And I've already registered this as an event, so if we all stand up today, we can add ourselves towards that, and then each of us if you want to write to your local government or just do some action or even just think about it, I invite you right now to stand up for 1 minute of silence and think about, you know, maybe how lucky we are to be here in this program, how unlucky some people are, and that we didn't have the choice to be born where we were or to be in the situations that we find ourselves in today. So I just invite you now to stand if you like. And we'll have 1 minute of silence. This has been videoed by Kara, and so we could use this to send home to try to create some more awareness about what's going on and just get people thinking about how there are inequalities in the world and what we can do. And I think all of us are here in this program trying to do that now.